I'm excited to welcome in Coach Moore, head men's and women's tennis coach at Alcorn State University. Coach, thanks for joining me today.
No problem. Excited to be here.
I appreciate it. And first and foremost, I'm just super impressed with not only your playing career, but your coaching career and everything that you've been able to accomplish so quickly. And I thought a good place for us to start would be, for you just to tell a little bit about your story as well as what has inspired you to coach tennis.
Okay, well, I first started tennis. I'm from Chicago, so my aunt taught me how to play tennis, and I was about 3, 4 years old when she started. Um, Before she put a racket in my hand, though, she said that I had to promise that I would always give back. And that was kind of the foundation of me starting tennis. I've loved, I just love competing. Like I played every sport as a kid, so I ended up getting pretty good at tennis. I think initially I was just trying to beat my brother, but then once I beat him, I was like, oh, I guess I'll stick with it. I still like tennis, so I end up, playing tournaments. I did pretty good in some junior tournaments, and when I was about, I believe, 9 years old, we applied for this program in Chicago called TOP, which is Tennis Opportunity Program, and it was to help like low income families be able to get tennis lessons and play tournaments, things like that. And I was awarded like a sponsor for that program. So it was great. They paid for me to get lessons along with my aunt. So it was kind of very beneficial for me. So I did group lessons twice a week, and then I did private lessons with the coach at Midtown and Excess Tennis. And then I traveled on the weekend, like almost I traveled a lot, maybe like every weekend, if not every month, I was traveling, going to different tournaments and things like that. So my life was pretty much always surrounded by tennis. And I used to help out at summer camps with my aunt because she worked in the recreation department. And I loved helping and coaching. So I always knew that, I believe from about high school, that's when I was like, okay, I want to play college tennis and then I want to coach after.
Yeah.
Once I graduated college, I got certified with the
Yeah.
PTR,
Hmm.
right? And then I got my first tennis job, coaching in Baton Rouge. That I believe it was that same year. I'm not sure, but I applied for this program that I saw on Instagram with USTA. It was called a professional coaching development program. So I'm like, that sounds like it's right up my alley. You got to travel with a mentor, things like that. So if I was able to get that program, then I would take the coaching direction versus try to pursue like a professional career. But I was still training in the meantime, just in case. But I actually got accepted into that program, and it was amazing. It just basically kickstarted my whole coaching career. I had some really good mentors with player development, and my mentors was in the player ID department of player development with USTA. So I had like Kent Kinnear, I had Dr. Larry Lauer. I mean, it was a lot of good mentors, and it was very beneficial for me and my development. We were also able to participate in the high performance coaching program
Wow.
um, in Cali, and then we were just traveling the country with the mentors. It was a really great program. And then after that, I met Coach Andy Brandy, who was the head men's tennis coach at LSU, and that was also just you know improved my learning experience. And I just knew, just being on the court with them, that coaching was like that's where I wanted to be for sure. So
Yeah.
and then like, let's see. So that was about what, 2018. That next year, I started my own tennis program. I felt like I could do a little better than kind of what they were doing in Baton Rouge, and I just decided to go for it. I started an LLC. I started doing group sessions, and it was perfect. Like I loved it absolutely. I got to start my own tennis camp, and that my business is more quality tennis.
Okay.
So that's something I've always wanted to do too. And now we're head coach, so that was like a 10-year goal for me. It just happened kind of fast. But I was still traveling, going to the high performance coaching programs. Like I was in New York at one, and I got a call, with a job offer at XS. And then I had one of my former teammates call me, and she was like, Alcorn is hiring for a head tennis coach. I was like, why would I apply for a head tennis coach position? Like, I was just trying to be a grad assistant at the time. I just wanted to get in the door, like just coach college tennis. And they were like, you can do it. Like, we're doing it. They were just so motivational. Like, you can do it. Like, you got everything you need. I'm like, okay, I'll apply. And I end up applying, and I got a call back like within a couple hours for the interview. And yeah, I applied on Wednesday. I ended up interviewing on that Friday, and my interview just went very well. I called all the head coaches I knew. I reached out to my mentors. So for those 48 hours, I was just doing research, tons and tons of research, trying to get prepared for the interview. And for me, it was just for the experience at the time. I didn't know what to expect. I just know, I have an interview, so I need to get prepared. So I did that, and then like I said, the interview went great, and I was offered the job the next day. So
Wow. So
yeah,
you talk about it being like very, very fast. All of a sudden you're wanting a grad assistantship, and then all of a sudden you find yourself as a head coach, right? It just went that quickly.
yeah, pretty much. I had some experience at LSU with the men's team, and then I had some experience kind of at Southern as well with the women's team. So it wasn't like I jumped right in like as a head coach, but I had a little bit of college coaching experience, just a little
Yeah.
bit. Not
And
a
a couple of things that you said really stuck out to me. One is I think when you're a college athlete, most athletes, at least the ones I've known, they have a level of, hey, I want to play pro tennis. You know what I mean? And I think when you start to realize, at least for myself, that, we better have a plan B, things get really interesting. But I just like how you were very methodical. And I actually read somewhere, when you were in college, you were a planner, and you used to plan out your days and weeks and everything like that. And I think as you're going into your coaching career, in your coaching career, I'm sure that's something that you carry over as well, which also leads me to my next question. I know you're relatively young, and you're one of very, very few female head coaches, especially who coach both men and women. And I just wanted you to talk a little bit about, like, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. I feel like it's almost like history being made for all of the female coaches because there's so little. And I just take my role. So this is my passion. I love tennis. I love everything about tennis. So coaching the women and coaching the men is just fulfilling for me. So I've realized that I need to use my platform a little like more specifically because there's such a small number of female or African American female coaches and head coaches at that. So it means a lot to be able to even make steps to influence someone else to be a head coach. I've had not a lot, but I've had one girl she's like a grad assistant right now. Actually, a couple of like younger players that I know who are under me playing tennis reach out to me about, coaching and things like that. And I tell them, call me anytime. I'm here. I have so many resources and I would love to help, especially the next female who would love to coach college tennis. I'd be honored to help them, especially if that's a really good goal for them. So it means a lot to me, and I'm taking it like way more serious as far as the impact that I can make with it versus just, being a head coach. Like, that's cool, but it's like, what impact am I making as being
Yeah.
that coach? So it means a lot.
I agree. And some other college coaches have talked about how, coaching is a piece of it, but it's like, what impact will you have on these young individual lives? And I think just hearing you say, like, you're here to help, whether it's mentor, I think that's building a successful cycle, in a world where we don't see many head coaches that look like you. And I think in the future, that's a part of, or a piece that's going to change that. A quote, or not a quote, but something I always think to myself is, how do we make tennis look more reflective of what, the US looks like, right? And I think having coaches like you is a way that, overall we can start to do that, because, all my goal is to give tennis, or give back what tennis has given me. And it's the joy and the networking and the people I get to meet. And it's just something special about it. So if there is a way I can also help give that to others, then my purpose has been fulfilled.
Yes.
And speaking on that, as you think about coaching, right, what really inspires you to keep going? Because I know it's not easy, especially now.
It's not. That's a great question. First of all, I have so many great mentors. One of my mentors asked me a question in December, and he asked me if I was a small detail oriented person or was I a big picture person? And he was like, what do you think is best for right now during this time? And I was like, wow, that was a powerful question. I'm a small detail oriented. I love doing the little things. I think all coaches love doing the little things. And that question made me remember that I need to keep the big picture in mind, right? So all the little things are on hold right now. Like, I mean, I'm currently in quarantine. There's a lot of things that physically I can't do, and I'm in season, so that's tough, but I still have to keep the big picture in mind, and even reminding my team, like, it's going to be about what team overcomes adversity, this season. Because we don't want to not set goals just because we don't know what's going to happen. We're going to have to adjust. And if that's a daily adjustment, we're just going to have to keep adjusting until there's so much that's out of our control. So adjusting seems like a skill that everyone needs to have. But I think keeping the bigger picture in mind keeps me motivated, and just realizing, like I said, my foundation is giving back. Since I picked up a racket, that was my foundation. And tennis has literally saved my life in so many ways. So I know, it obviously does the same thing for other people. So if I can help that process as well, like, I have players from all over the world. Some don't come from great environments, and just for them to be able to come here and have food, have somewhere to sleep, have a scholarship, their school is paid for. Like, I think that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, I really appreciate how you say you focus on the big picture, and a little bit of what I heard is you're focused on the big picture, but you're also monitoring the process, which is the day to day. And I think sometimes the big goals we have in life for a year, those usually don't change, but it's the process and how we get to those goals, that will change, right? And one of the things that I was thinking of, apart from the obvious challenge, for you, as an African American coach, as a Black female coach, what are some of the biggest challenges you face, outside of COVID and quarantine, with managing, two different programs?
My biggest challenge right now is just not having an assistant.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty tough, but I mean, the type of person I am, and I've done like multiple personality tests to help confirm this, but I love challenges. And sometimes I'm not going to say it's good or bad, but the fact that I love challenges just motivates me to get things done because I love problem solving. So that helps. But it would be great to have an assistant or a grad assistant. We're working on that, but that's my biggest challenge. But I love the challenge at the same time, so I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one of the things I wish we did more personality assessments, because I think part of it is understanding who you are as a person, and the better you understand yourself, the better, in my opinion, you'll be able to give yourself to the world, right? But if it's easy to get caught up in doing things that, may not be in your best interest, or following career paths that aren't for you. But it's refreshing to hear that you're so in tune, not only with yourself, but you're giving the world, or the best of yourself, to the world. And I think that is something very, very special.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really big on like self-awareness, things like that. That's like you said, how can I be the best version of myself if I don't know myself? Like, how can I give the best version of myself to someone else, to my team, to my administration, if I don't know what my strengths are, if I don't know what my weaknesses are, if I don't know, what type of, how I take criticism, just different things. Like a personality test is very beneficial in the workplace and even just in life.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. One of the things that I really wanted to ask you is, like, what advice do you have for, the 10-year-old tennis junior who who's coming up and they look up to you and say, you know, I want to be one of the few, or hopefully at that time, one of the many African-American head coaches in college tennis, like what's some advice you would have for them?
I would just say, to me, you can only fail like if you give up. You know, like you never know what's out there. There's so much, just from coming from the environment like in Chicago that I come from. I had never been in a professional environment, you know, and I had to make adjustments. I had to learn professionalism, just things like that. And I would say just don't give up. If that's what you want to do, there's no telling, you know, when your opportunity is going to come. I always say, my favorite quote is, don't miss your opportunity because you didn't work hard. Because sometimes opportunities are disguised. You don't know, but you don't want to miss it because you didn't work hard, you know? So I would say, and just surround your life. I think one of the big things I did was surround my life around tennis. Like even on Instagram, Twitter, social media, I followed all the tennis pages. And then I feel like you invite more of what you want into your life when you start surrounding your life around it. Networking is very crucial. You can't be scared to have conversations. And like I said, I had never been in a professional environment. So I was like, I wasn't sure that people really wanted to help me, which is kind of like a little bit, I think that's a little bit of self-doubt, because obviously you wouldn't be here if they weren't trying to help. So and that goes back to the self-awareness, you know? So I would always promote, you know, self-awareness, but don't give up. If that's your dream, if that's your goal, just don't stop until it happens. It's gonna happen. Like it's gonna happen. It's just when. But you can't be focused on when it will happen. As we can see, I became a head coach. Like that was a 10-year goal, and it happened very fast. But I would say I was prepared for that opportunity when it presented itself, and I felt prepared. So, I mean, that's really what I would say. And if you know, if that's what you want to do, like I said, surround yourself in, you know, social media, but even coaches, like do research. There was times where I was just researching schools and just looking at coaches and looking at their programs. Look for mentors, and, you know, look for opportunities to be in an environment where that you want to be in. So that's what I was, the advice that I would give.
Yeah. I love how you said, in my mind, I heard you say it, and it was more like, you know, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And while coaching was on your 10-year plan, you know, your opportunity came and you were like, all right, well, that came earlier and I'm ready. Let's go. And I really appreciate that, because sometimes, you know, no matter what field you're in, you'll pass up an opportunity because you don't think you're ready. And for me, and my recommendation is, I would much rather fail and say I tried it than to be like scared and not try it and never know what would have happened. You know what I mean? And I think just listening to you again is refreshing. And I think you you are definitely on the fast track to success. You know what I mean? So I can definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, that was a good point you made. Like, don't sell yourself short. I was selling myself short. I didn't even know it. Like, I was like, oh, I just want to be a grad assistant. Like, no, you have bigger plans. You're going to be a head coach, you know? So I would say that too. Like, don't sell yourself short. Don't limit yourself. I will never limit myself ever again. Like, I'll just dream big. And you just said something, that stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That's crazy. I'm actually working on a brand, like with t-shirts and things like that. I literally have one, so I'm going to show you. But it's certain, it's like stay ready, and it's like get ready out.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I said that and you have a shirt.
Crazy. See, you know, just I believe in manifestation. I believe in putting things out in the universe. That has worked for my life personally. I can't speak for anyone else, but the law of attraction for me personally has worked for me. And when you spoke of planning and journaling, I write down everything. And for me, that helps hold myself accountable, because I just have a lot of integrity. So if I write something down and I don't do it, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you know, accomplish your goal, or at least work towards it. Everything doesn't always happen, but at least I try to take steps towards it.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. One, I need to know where to get those shirts, so you can tell me that.
Yeah.
Two, where can we get the shirts? Where do you have a website?
So we're working on the I'm still in the process of the forming it, like the LLC, things like that. But right now we have a Shopify. So I'll be able to send you those details.
Awesome. I'll make sure I put it in the video when everything launches, because I mean, to me, in much of my brand is me taking a risk and saying, you know what, I'm going to chart my own path because I love to do this and I know that I'm good at it. And it may be scary, it may be, you know, times that are hard or days that are hard, but at the end of the day, if I can smile, if I really enjoy what I'm doing, you know, I always believe it will work. And for much of my life, no matter what challenges I've had, you know, things somehow seem to work out. And that would be my only advice is to anybody who's going to watch this is, you know, follow your heart, follow your path, and know you got to believe that it will work out. You got to put it out there. Like you said, coach, you got to put it out there that it's going to work out, because if not, you know, you can either say it will or it won't, but usually you're right. So if I say it won't work, it won't work. If I say it will work, it most likely will.
Yeah, it's that simple. But I even appreciate you for this platform because, I mean, coming up, I didn't see any, you know, Black women's tennis. I know a couple, and now that I'm coaching, I've met probably all of the ones who are coaching. But coming up as a kid, I didn't see that. So
Yeah.
being able to be on a platform and just maybe some little girl or some aspiring coach just sees another coach, that makes a difference too, because sometimes you just have to see it. And I wish that I could be more in the communities. I love to be in the communities, but with COVID, kind of tough to do that. But I would love to go to different schools and be around, introduce tennis to the kids, and you know, maybe one day they'll want to be a coach and inspire them. So this is a great platform as well. It's virtual and you can hop online and see it. So I think that's it. I think that's great.
Yeah. And it's, for me, again, it's really about telling those stories, because I mean, a lot of people may not know who's coaching where. It's, I mean, it's a lot, right? It's hard to keep up with what's going on in every industry and every profession. So being able to have a platform to really showcase, you know, coaches like you know what I mean? I think it's an incredible story. And, you know, for me, I really am thankful that you agreed to jump on and not only tell your story, but be an inspiration to your players, your university, and people who are going to look up to you and you may not know. I think that's, again, that's special.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I don't have any more questions. So with that, again, I want to thank you for the time. I wish you the best through the challenges that you're going to face this year, because I know, you know, this season will probably be like no other. But the good news is, you know, the likelihood that it will happen again is slims, I would say. So, you know, maybe you started off with the hardest, hopefully the hardest challenge in your coaching career, and then everything is uphill from here.
Yeah, I mean, I just season. I mean, I'm going into my second season. My first one got canceled and I started in October. So I just would like to have a season. And this one is going to be, it already is. It's only January, but we're going to have to figure out how to navigate through this, you know. I mean,
I'll say this, it's about controlling what you can control. You
yeah.
know, you can't get worked up about what you can't control, but as long as you're doing the best you can, I mean, you can control your effort, you can control how you prepare. But if you show up in 10 minutes, you know, a team can't play, you can't control that, but at least you were ready, right?
So you have to get ready. You got to stay ready.
Yeah, that's the shirt. I'm telling you, I'm gonna wear it.
Yeah, I got to get you one. I mean, I'm working on production. Now I'm in quarantine, so I could look a little into my side businesses and
Yeah,
when I get work done. But yeah.
absolutely. Well, again, Coach, I really appreciate the time. All the best. And I look forward to doing this again with you sometime soon.
Sure, for sure. I love talking. I mean, I love hopping on interviews. Whatever I can do to help the tennis industry, I love it. And thanks for what you're doing. This is great. You have great platforms. I checked it out. So
I
I'm
appreciate
looking
that.
forward to the next couple of videos.